All right, we got PT episode 12. I'm Cole. We got Luke here. We got the buzzsaw over there. We're going over our AFC free agency grades, and we're also continuing on for some of these teams' dream off seasons post the first cycle of free agency, diving deeper into what they've done, what they've lost, current cap space, draft picks, adding any more free agents. But let's just hop right into the AFC free agency grades here, gentlemen. And I have, I believe, the first division up here, the AFC North. And that first team's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, who won the division.
Big Mike!
Shout out Big Mike. Shout out Aaron Rodgers. Shout out all of them, man. So this team, they've made a little bit of moves, lost a little bit. So they had Jamel Dean, 3 years, $36 million, decent signing. One signing I love, Rico Dowdle, 2 for 12. I think after you lose Kenneth Gainwell, the fact you can bring in Rico Dowdle on a super team-friendly deal after what he did in Carolina last year, I think it's a home run signing. This team wants to run the football. Jaylen Warren can't be an every down back. You need someone to take the pressure off him and be kind of that first, second down, straight line plotter. Rico Dowdle fits that to a T and what they want to do there in Pittsburgh. Sebastian Joseph, 2 year, $11 million, and then Jaquan Brisker, 1 year, $5.5 million. Like that signing a lot. I know the guy kind of fell off in Chicago a little bit, but this guy showed a ton of promise.
He was great in the playoffs.
Great in the playoffs, and has showed a lot of promise throughout his career. I think that's a really fire signing for them there. Now, they lost their starting guard, Isaac Samulu. They lost Kenneth Gainwell, who was a legitimate weapon for him last year. They lost James Pierre, Calvin Austin, Miles Killebrew. And then you still have a few guys that are pending free agents like Jonnu Smith and Kyle Duggar. Now, for their grade, I'm just going to give it a C. I'll give it a C+. I think it's really highlighted by the Rico Dowdle signing, obviously. They lost a few pieces. They added a few pieces. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give them a B. Or give them a straight-up B. I really like the Brisker and the Rico signing. I think those are both really good value signings. And in free agency, those are the kind of deals that are going to pan out and be the winning deals, kind of the low-key, between the margin deals. They didn't do anything too sexy. They didn't lose anyone too big. So for me, it's just a solid B. I don't think they tried to outplay their hand, do anything too crazy. And when your team, you don't even know who the hell your starting quarterback is, I don't expect you to go out and make huge splashes in free agency. And obviously with Pittsburgh, that's the question, who's the quarterback. So
right.
we got to figure that. We got to get more intel here on what they're going to do at the quarterback spot before we can really dive too much deeper into Pittsburgh. So for now, it's just a B. I do like some of the signings. So, yeah.
No, I feel they just made a lot of low-key moves, no big contracts, but they got guys definitely for bargains here and there, which I like a lot, which when you're in a state of kind of limbo where you don't know if you're trying to go get a young QB or wait a year or, just what you're going to put Big Mike at the helm. I think those are solid moves for the team.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, this grade, it could be for their offseason, it could be for their last 5 years, but this is exactly what the Steelers do. They make good moves. They don't make great moves. They don't make dumb moves. They just keep kind of plodding along between that B- and B+ range. They also traded for Michael Pittman to add someone alongside DK. I do really like the Rico signing. I think that's going to be – he's the perfect guy with Warren. Yeah. Because, you had Warren and Gainwell last year, and they're, kind of the same player. Now you've got, the bruiser with, the receiving back, the third down back. You've got Michael Pittman now opposite DK Metcalf. So if it's Rodgers, whoever the quarterback is, you've got some more weapons there for sure. Their offensive line actually has been getting better. So I think the offense could actually be decent. And, this is a defensive culture. So, I'm not too worried about the defense. You didn't lose a whole lot. So, to me, it's just another normal Steelers offseason. It's just them doing what they do, making good moves around the margins, and hoping to win 10 games.
Yep. All right, next team up, Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the story here with Baltimore is the whole Max Crosby dilemma. Traded for him, declined the trade after the physical apparently fell through. But in spite of that, they went and got Trey Hendrickson, 4 years, $112 million. This signing with Trey, man, I know Baltimore, they had one of the lowest pressure rates to get after quarterbacks last year. They could not get after the quarterback at all. So you obviously had to go sign somebody because you have Lamar's ready to win right now, obviously. This does feel like a slight overpay, and this does kind of feel like one of these contracts that could turn into a disaster in a year or two. Trey Hendrickson's on the wrong side of 30 now. He's had some real injury problems now. He just screams to a guy that he's kind of coming out of his prime now. I don't think that you could be confident saying, this guy's in the thick of his prime. He's going to get you 16, 17 sacks again like he did a couple years ago. I don't think he's that player anymore. He might prove me wrong, but I really don't love that signing. But again, if you're Baltimore, you kind of have to make moves like this because you do have Lamar. You also brought in John Simpson, 3 years, $30 million to help bolster that interior offensive line. But the problem is you lost your best lineman in Tyler Linderbaum. So that's kind of a net negative move in my mind. You brought in Jalen Hawkins to the safety spot, 2 years, $10 million. You also brought in Chidobe Awuzie on a 1-year deal for some cornerback veteran depth there.
Chidobe.
Now, you lost Tyler
Cheeto.
Linderbaum, obviously, to the Vegas Raiders. It's a big loss. This guy was really the staple of that offensive line. He was the staple of the run game. That's going to be a huge miss for them. And this is a team that they're at their best when they run the ball and they run downhill, and this guy was the leader of that. And I know you brought in John Simpson to help out the interior, but John Simpson ain't Tyler Linderbaum. And I honestly would have rather this team go and re-sign Linderbaum and then go get a bargain defensive end. I don't know. I don't really love that move. They also lost Isaiah Likely, which he had to go. He got paid way too much money. He couldn't afford to keep this guy around. They also lost Draymond Jones, who was a really quality edge for him last year, probably their best edge rusher last year. They also lost Charlie Kolar, Aloha Gilman, who was a top 35
Shout
PFF
out Charlie
safety
Kolar,
last
baby.
year, Keaton Mitchell, and Ardarius Washington. So this team really lost a lot more than they gained over this offseason, and it's scary because they're putting a lot of chips into Trey Hendrickson, and if Trey Hendrickson's not an all-pro next year, this defense doesn't get any better. You lost too much. Alohi Gilman and Ardarius Washington were two good players in your secondary. Draymond Jones was probably your best pass rusher last year. He's gone now. There's a world where Trey Hendrickson replicates Trey Hendrickson's play last year, or Draymond Jones' play last year. So I don't love this offseason for Baltimore at all. And like I said, I get it signing Trey. You had to make the move, but this roster is just not nearly as completed as it was a few years ago. And with Lamar Jackson getting older now, with the injury stacking up, they just feel like they're heading into nowhere, into purgatory. I'm going to give this a C-, my free agency grade. I don't like what they did. This team's not that deep like they once were. I would have rather you maybe spend more money on a quantity of players versus just the one risk on Trey Hendrickson. I get it, and I understand making the move. I just don't love it. I think there's a real reason this guy lasted until, day 4 of free agency. I don't love it. I don't love this offseason for them so far in free agency.
I feel they feel like in last year they felt like a completely different team from the start to the end, right? Because they were favorites at the start, and then they just kind of lost their mojo, and now they're losing all their guys too. It doesn't feel like it's going in the right direction unless Jesse Minter is just some freaking miracle
Mike
worker.
McDonald.
Yeah, literally. So it doesn't really make sense. I understand they got to shed salary here and there, but I feel like a lot of those guys they lost too were on good rookie or bargain contracts, like nothing that big, and they outperformed it for them, even though they had a shitty year, and they're still losing those guys. So it's just not a good situation for them to be in.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the best thing that happened for them this offseason was rescinding that Max Crosby trade. Like, I don't like
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the Hendricks signing either, but I would much rather have Hendrickson than give up 2 first-round picks and pay Max Crosby the same amount.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, the production you're going to get from the two of them, I mean, it's not a whole lot different most likely, and you're still keeping your 2 first-round picks, including, the 14th pick this year, which can help you a ton. But also, because they did that, they let all these guys walk originally. I don't know when they planned to rescind the deal or not, but they let a ton of dudes walk out the door. I don't know how I feel about Jesse Minter. I mean, he was an awesome D coordinator last year with Jim Harbaugh. But, I mean, John Harbaugh's a good coach. Like, I don't think anyone's disputing that. So, I don't know what the coach, a lot of the times a bad coach leaves, a good coach comes in, and it revamps a franchise, and you see it every year. I don't know if that's the case here. In fact, I would probably think it's different. Jesse Minter's never been a head coach in the NFL before. He's with a guy like Lamar Jackson with a front office and an ownership group that is accustomed to being a 12-win team and a 1 or 2 or 3 seed. This team is ready to win. They want to win. They expect to win. This is a lot of pressure on Jesse Minter, losing all these guys, and your big notable signing is Trey Hendrickson coming off an injury-plagued year. It's a big gamble, like we've talked about. And, I mean, could it work out? Yeah, of course. I mean, Baltimore, I think they're the favorites out of the AFC right now, which is just crazy.
I think they're the favorites in the whole. They have the highest win.
Vegas
total,
just love the Baltimore Ravens because of their advanced analytics and their advanced stats that they have. But I think, Cole, like you said, this has the makings of a disaster for the next 3 years, and kind of the botchery of the last, potentially the last few good years of Lamar's career. I mean, he's 30 years old. Like, I would, if I had to bet my life on it, I'd say he's going to be good at 35 and 36, but I don't know. I mean, he's a running quarterback who's shown decline. He doesn't run as much anymore. Like, you might only have 2 or 3 years left. You're cap strapped now, and, you're at the point where you're losing more good players than you can bring in, and now you just change coaches. Like, it's a tough spot to be in. So I'd almost go lower into the D range, and if that Max trade went through, I'd be in the D- range, because I just think that would be a full-blown disaster. This team needs to get younger, and I think the only thing that's keeping them maybe in that C range is the getting rid of that Max Crosby deal.
Yeah, it just seems like they're pushing all their chips in the middle of the table when they have a shitty hand. Like, I don't know. It's a tough spot, and like I could really see this playing out where Jesse Minter only lasts 2 years in Baltimore as well. If Lamar Jackson goes down again, Jesse Minter is going to be out of a job here in 2 years. I would bet a lot of money on that. And it just
Probably.
it's scary, man. And like you said, it makes you wonder too. It's like what's this team gonna look like? What's the identity? What's the culture? Because John Harbaugh was the culture.
Why didn't
John Harbaugh was even the culture over Lamar, who Lamar should be, but he's not that personality.
Why didn't they bring in Tomlin?
I don't know. That
Tomlin
would have
was
been better.
right there for them.
Yeah.
Lamar has openly said, "I'd love to play for Tomlin one day." Like, Tomlin would have been perfect for this team.
You better hope Jesse Minter's the guy, because if he's not, then Lamar Jackson is going to be on his last legs in a couple years, and he's going to.
And you're going to burn him with Minter.
Yeah, and he's never. And I mean, but like we said too, it's like even I understand getting rid of Harbaugh, but with Harbaugh, like the teams were also equipped to win. Like this team's not personnel wise not equipped to win the highest level. It's not.
I mean, they'll still probably win 10, 11.
They'll win 10, 11 games. But I'm saying, like, this team, their goal isn't 10, 11 wins. It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not even to only make it. It's to win the fucking Super Bowl. And I don't see it. I don't see any world where they win the Super Bowl with this kind of makeup and this current roster. And the fact they're the Vegas jerks them every year, though. But
I mean, they had them as the favorites to win the division last year in like week 8 when they were like 2-6.
Yeah.
Like they won't stop the Baltimore Ravens ever.
All right, next team up, Cincinnati Bengals. They've made a little bit of noise this offseason. Brought in Boy Mafe, 3 years, $60 million. I mean, I honestly hate this signing, Boy Mafe. We know him because he was on the best defense in the Super Bowl champions. This guy was not that good. He had 4.5 sacks. He's pretty good against the run. But this guy's not going to offer you a ton in the pass rush game. And that's what you're going to need now, because Trey Hendrickson's gone. Joseph Asai's gone. I do really like bringing in Brian Cook for 3 years, $40 million. Brian Cook, super underrated, really, really good safety in the league. Borderline all-pro guy. I think that's a really team-friendly deal for him. And then they brought in Jonathan Allen, who's clearly out of his prime at this point at 2 for $25, and they brought in Joe Flacco. And then, like I said, they lost Trey, they lost Asai, they lost Geno Stone, Cam Taylor-Britt, Noah Fant. To me, the vibe is they're honestly in the same spot as Baltimore. Like, you're cap strapped to your top guys now. You lose some bodies, and you got to just bring in whatever the hell you can and pray to God your quarterback's good enough to get you to the promised land. And I will say at this point, I have a little more confidence in Burrow over Lamar Jackson. But, again, it's just another C- for me. I will give it a C just because of the Brian Cook signing, which I did like a lot. They feel
I like
that
the Jonathan Allen one too.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen.
I mean, Jonathan Allen, he was injured a lot. The guy, I don't know how much
They're not
more
paying him a
Jonathan
lot.
Allen has left in the tank.
he's a fine player.
I just, again, and this is more of my grade is kind of more of just the direction, what's all transpired. Again, they feel like they feel desperate. And they obviously are desperate after what's happened the last couple of years. That Super Bowl run feels like it was a century ago at this point. And they're going to be relying all on Joe Burrow. And we've seen it work once, but I don't know if the guy can stay healthy. The offensive line still isn't that good. They didn't do anything to improve it. The defense still sucks. I know they added a few guys, but they lost their best player in Trey Hendrickson. The defense may get a little bit better, but where are they going to go from 31st to 24th?
Yeah, I just like that they're trying something different on defense, but I agree it's not really looking very promising, especially when you have the exact same coaching staff and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I think they definitely should have got rid of Zach Taylor. That's where they started wrong in the first place. And, I mean, they started wrong last offseason when they extended T. Could have probably got a first-round pick for him. But, I mean, their problem goes back to, like, 1995 when they hired their GM that they still have. So
Yeah.
they got so many problems. It's hard to really dive deep into just one thing.
I completely agree. Like it's almost hard to grade the Bengals on a off-season basis or year-by-year basis or 6-month basis because these problems are so systematic. And like you just said, they started before the T. Higgins deal, but that was kind of the key deal where it was like
that was their opportunity to turn it around.
100%. This is where we can really do something here, and instead we extended our second receiver and gave him $30 million. Like now we don't have the ability. I will say, given the situation that they put themselves in, I don't hate their offseason. I don't like the Boy Mafe deal either. I think
that one's bad.
I think that's going to end up being a horrible deal, but I don't mind you taking the risk on it. You take a shot. Why not? I think you got a really good safety in Brian Cook, and I think Jonathan Allen's a fine defensive tackle. You also still do have, the 10th pick in the draft? So you can do some real damage there. I mean, you could get a Sonny Styles, you could get a Caleb Downs. Like, there are some players, really good players that might still be there. You've still got $20 million in cap space, so you've got a little wiggle room. So I don't hate it coming from the lens of where they were in January. Oh, sorry. Where they were in January. But the problem with that is, yes, where they were in January, I don't think what they did. I think they did a fine job for the situation they're in. But the problem is, like you said, Luke, that's the situation they put themselves in. So,
exactly.
It's hard to grade them because, I can say, all right, in a vacuum the last 2-3 months, I think they've done a good job. But the problem is they've done a good job with the horrible hand they dealt themselves, so it's really not a great job when you look at it from the grand scheme of things.
Imagine if they traded T last year, got a first-round pick for him, had a year to develop a first-round pick, and then you go into this offseason with almost, 30, 40 more mil in cap space because you don't have T, and then you let Trey Hendrickson walk, or you go ahead and flip him last offseason too. You get a second-round pick.
Why did they trade Hendrickson?
And then, Burrow's probably going to get – you don't know, but Burrow gets hurt. Then you got a top 10 pick to add to that. It's just you need to mix in youth with the talent you have and, to get cheap contracts and have a competent depth team. It just doesn't make sense.
That's the other thing. It's looking at the last 2 months, I actually looking in a vacuum at this. I would let Trey Hendrickson walk. Would I want to give Trey Hendrickson a 4-year, $110 million deal? Absolutely not. So in the last 2 years, fine, good deal. Problem is, you had a year and a half prior to that where you knew this was coming.
Yes.
So why didn't you ask for it? Why didn't you get him out of the building and get a first or second round pick for him? That's the problem.
Even a third or fourth, man.
Anything.
Because they're delusional and they thought they could still win right now with them.
And that's the issue. It's we can look at it in the lens of okay, how have they done the last 2 months? But these issues are so systematic. And like you said, they've gone back since Mike Brown owned this damn team. And then he's owned this team now for over 30 years. So these issues with the Bengals are just, they're recurring and you can't really fix them.
No, that's why it's just a C. I don't know how to grade this.
Yeah.
All right, last team in the division, Cleveland Browns. Honestly, if we're talking about looking into the future, if I'm Browns fan base, I feel pretty good about the future, man. All of the three teams above them are all trending down, and I would say if I'm Cleveland, we're kind of on the up and up, and we're kind of trending up. But it's not because of this free agency. It's just because of how I think bad of spots the other teams are in. But anyways, Zion Johnson they brought in 3 years, $49 million. Terrible fucking signing.
Terrible.
Zion Johnson's actually an elite run blocker, but the guy can't block the pass to save his life. He's one of the worst pass blocking guards in the entire NFL.
I learned how to in Ohio.
And you want to sign a guy like this for $15+ million a year? Go for it. Do it. I guess whatever. Elton Jenkins, 2 years, $24 million. The guy when he has played, he's great. The guy's older though. He's injury prone. Don't really love that signing. Quincy Williams, 2 years, $13 million. Same vibe. The guy was great a couple years ago. He's older now. He's more injury prone. There's a reason he went this cheap. I don't really understand these signings. If I'm Cleveland, I want to add more young up and coming guys. I'm not trying to add win now guys like Quincy Williams or Elton Jenkins. They also brought in Tevin Jenkins as another guard depth piece. They made a bunch of little tiny other marginal moves, but they've lost, or they're going to lose Wyatt Teller, still a free agent. They lost Cam Thomas. Lost Jerome Ford. Probably going to lose Joel Big Tits Patitnio. Shout out Big Tits. Probably going to lose Jack Conklin and probably going to lose Dave Njoku. So this team has lost kind of the foundation of what they were, which was the Wyatt Tellers, the Jack Conklins, the Big Tits Patino. The offensive line has kind of been like the identity of this team for the past few years, really. That's all gone now, and you replace it with Zion Johnson, like I said, can't block the pass at all, and Elton Jenkins, who's hurt and old. So, again, I think they could have done a lot better things here. I would rather go see this team. Go sign a Leo Chanel. Go sign a Nick Cross. Go sign some younger guys that you can build around because you're not winning right now anyways. But they made win-now moves, which I don't really understand because this team's not ready to win right now. So it's going to be another C- for me. If I'm Cleveland, I'm trying to load up for the future. I'm not trying to load up for now. And what they're doing right now, they're kind of just trying to stay stagnant with the O-line and the defense. The defense is good as it is. But I don't really understand cap strapping yourself to Zion Johnson and then Elton Jenkins. I don't love those moves at all. I get it. You got to get some linemen to replace the guys you've lost. But these aren't the ones I would have gone after, and I don't really understand the direction. But we haven't understood the direction of this team for, 30 years? So
I could see those two offensive lineman signings working out for them, just bringing veteran presence to the offense and the run game and everything, like you said, with Zion. But I agree that was definitely an overpay. But you never know. You know, some coaching staff could make it click for pass block for him, and that would be exceptional. But, yeah, that's all hypothetical. I agree, though, but I think the good thing that they're doing is they're stacking draft picks and young talent, and I think they're actually drafting really well. I mean, I think they took Shadur in the 4th last year just because they had so many picks, and they think they already had pretty much every guy they wanted that high, you know? It's like, screw it, why not just take the kid, get some publicity out of it, because we got nothing going on in our quarterback room. We got like a $60 million cap hit for a guy that's not even going to be playing, just getting massages all year. But, I mean, yeah, I kind of like what they're doing. I kind of get it. Like, I mean, if they're just doing 2-year deals for guys like Quincy Williams and Elton Jenkins, I think that's great, especially to teach the young guys like Carson Schweizinger or just whatever offensive lineman they draft, because they are bound to get one with one of their first two first-round picks. But, yeah, they're everything about them revolves around the quarterback. And
yeah, I love what they've drafted well, but I'm just for me just looking at just the free agency stuff, I don't love it.
I don't understand what they're doing with their offensive line. They let every single starter basically walk, and that was probably their best unit on offense.
It was the identity of the team.
Literally, it was the only good unit you had on offense. You let them all walk, and you brought in, like you said, Elton Jenkins, who's hurt, and Zion Johnson, who's one of the worst pass-blocking guards in the league. Like, you actually had a good O-line. It's
and
the
you
only
paid
thing
him top dollar.
It's the only thing you had going for you. Why didn't you try to keep those guys and maybe just say, hey, Zion Johnson, I'm not going to pay you $18 million a year. I don't think that's a good idea. The other thing is, you brought in Todd Monken as your head coach.
Yeah.
How do we think that's going to work out? Probably fucking horribly.
Yeah, probably bad.
It's going to be horrible.
I think he's going to be Aaron Glenn. I think he's a placeholder for the year.
Well, and I know
when they get a QB, they're going to have to get a new coach.
And I know that's what they're doing. Like, I know this is what the Jets are doing too. Like, it's all about the 2027 class and getting your quarterback then. But like, they're going to be horrible next year. And I understand that, like, you know, the next year's class of quarterbacks is great. You got Myles Garrett at 31. That's another thing. Why didn't you trade Myles Garrett?
I don't know.
Why are you paying Myles Garrett $41 million or $40 million, whatever it is? Maybe he just wants that and he just wants to
put butts in the seat.
Yeah, and he wants to break records, and that's all he really wants to do with his career. Fine, whatever. If I'm the Browns, I'm trading him for 3 firsts like that.
Yeah.
In a fucking heartbeat. Because that's worth a hell of a lot more to me with a rebuilding team than Myles Garrett is. It makes no sense. And so coupled with that and them getting rid of the only position group that they had that was good on offense, which now is probably going to be bad along with a bad quarterback, horrible receivers, and I guess you got Quinshawn if he's back from his injury. Like, this team's going to be worse next year.
Yeah, it just they're doing the Jets plan. I think they're tanking.
Yeah.
Like, Todd Monken, I think, is the ultimate tank coach. If he's not a tank coach, I don't know what the hell is.
No.
Same with Aaron Glenn.
But that's the other problem is, like, I think they also suffered from the fact that, like, you think Mike Tomlin was going to go there?
No.
You think John Harbaugh was going to go there?
No. Well, that's
like, you think if they called Kirk Cignetti, you think he was like?
No.
They're not going to get a premier head coach, and so yes, while maybe Todd Monken was the placeholder guy, Who's the guy after him? Who's the top coaching candidate that's going to be like, oh, there's 7 jobs. I want Cleveland.
Well, it's when Cleveland has the 1 pick next year, and they get whatever quarterback they want. That's when the job
If
becomes
they
attractive.
have the 1 pick.
But this
There's
quarterback
gonna be a
class
lot
is
of
loaded.
bad
they're
teams.
going to be in the top 5. They're going to get a quarterback. I would bet a ton of money their first round pick next year is going to be a QB.
Probably.
And then all of a sudden that job is a lot more attractive than Shadur.
Yeah.
So, and then I think that's but even then it's like,
When's the Watson contract up?
I don't.
Is it
even
another
know.
year?
It's 1 or 2.
But I would
'Cause
almost
you're screwed there
like
too.
I would have rather honestly just run it back with the current off because their free agency is all about the O line. I would rather just run it back with the current group that are Cleveland Brown football players that the fan base knows.
Why
fan base
not?
knows, and
I
that
just
it's been
think those
good.
guys didn't want to come back.
Probably not, and they're a little bit older. They've gotten Teller's been hurt. These guys have been a little bit beat up. But like, you're not you're staying even if not definitely downgrading on that position group, and you're also I would have instead of Zion Johnson go re-sign Big Tits to a 2-year $20 million deal, low risk. Keep him in house. Instead, you're paying Zion Johnson $50
Keep
million.
Wyatt Teller.
Yeah,
He's
or
a
Teller.
fine player.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I don't see a world where Zion Johnson just becomes a great pass blocker. He's been in the league for 6 years.
If
now.
he wasn't with Jim Harbaugh, it's not happening with Todd Monken.
No, and that's great. You could run block all day, but if you can't protect my quarterback, I don't care how good you are at run blocking.
Right.
But all right, that's it for the AFC North. Now we got
South?
the AFC South. Yes, sir.
All right. I got the Colts up first. Do I want my grade first or my analysis?
However you want to do it.
All right, I'll get my analysis. So their key re-signings, they got Danny Dimes back for $44 million a year for 2 years, so that's 88 in total. They got Mo Alley Cox. That's a staple in that locker room, just with the name like that. And they re-signed Drew Ogletree as well, and their kicker Blake Group, and then of course the big one, where we thought he might end up somewhere else. Alec Pierce, 4 years, $116 million, just under $30 million a year. Yikes! The additions they got Arden Key, a defensive end. Wanye Thomas, a safety from the Cowboys. Jonathan Owens, a safety from the Bears and a big special teams player. And then they signed Eric Nadi, Michael Clemens, both on the D-line, along with Colby Wooden. No one's going to really get most of those names, right? And then they also traded away Michael Pittman Jr. as well as Zaire Franklin, the linebacker, who were both pretty important players for them last year, if we're being honest. They had to make these moves to make space for Danny Dimes and Alec Pierce's new contract. So it's kind of I think this is a really disappointing offseason for the Colts. I gave them a D because to me it's last season they went all in on the Danny Dimes project, and it's everyone's talking like, oh yeah, I mean Danny Dimes looked great and all this, but they knew if he was going to be good, they had to sign him to a contract like this, and they're going to have to sign Sauce Gardner to a contract, and then they ended up having to pay Alec Pierce a shitload of money, and now they just they don't have any money to play with whatsoever. I mean, if they even want to try to, even Anthony Richardson's on a huge contract. He was a top 5 pick. They just are not in a very good position. They were riding so high last year. They made bold moves, and then it just fell on its face. And now they have the same squad, but they're missing they're missing a couple key players. They even lost Braden Smith as well on the O-line. And it's just they don't have as good of a team, but they're paying more to the guys. They should have kept Pittman, in my opinion, and let Pierce walk. Get a comp pick. It just sign and trade anything. I just feel like they didn't do a good use of their assets and everything, Make good use of it.
I think the bottom line here is Danny Dimes playing at the level he did for the first 10 weeks of the season was the worst thing that could have happened to this franchise. If Danny Dimes goes out and sucks, okay, we're rebuilding. We're going to get a quarterback. The fact that Danny went out and played as good as he did gave the ownership group enough confidence that they went and got and swung for Sauce Gardner, which now looks like an awful trade. And then now they've doubled down and said, okay, Danny, we're going to sign you to this monster contract, and we all know how this is going to go. They remind me of Baltimore or Cincy, but even worse. They're now, instead of being strapped to Lamar or Burrow, you're now strapped with a roster that's not ready to really compete at the highest level with Daniel Jones coming off a brutal injury.
It's terrible.
Like, they might be in the worst position of any team in football. Like, honestly, I would rather be in the position of the Jets or one of these teams.
Or
where, okay,
Steelers.
we're
Yeah,
rebuilding.
just
like,
literally.
this team is so fucked. It's not even funny.
It literally
They
might
are
be Browns.
so
It might
fucked.
be Browns
All
and then them.
This is a fat fucking F. This
Yeah.
is the worst offseason
This is-
by fucking far. Who are you bidding against for Daniel Jones? Who came to Daniel Jones and said, we'll give you $40 million? Who the hell? Like,
At that
why
44
would you
even.
give him that?
They gave him more than 40.
Why would you give Alec Pierce $30 million? Why would you trade 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner? This is Chris Ballard, the GM who's been the most conservative GM
And
his
then-
entire tenure in the league. Every single time, it's who has the most cap space. Oh, it's the Colts. Oh, they're being smart. They're being conservative. They're saving their money. They're going to go all
Finally
in. They
use
do
it.
this
Yeah.
year in, year out, till finally, this is the big kaboom. We trade 2 first-round picks for a washed. I mean, I don't know if he's washed, but like this, I don't know if Sauce Gardner's ever going to have a better year than he's already had. You got 2 first-round picks for him. You gave Daniel Jones $44 million a year, bidding against absolutely nobody. You just gave Alec Pierce $30. You traded Michael Pittman. You lost players on defense, and you're going absolutely nowhere. This is a disaster. I absolutely hate this. For the
Yeah, it's
Colts. I think
also-
it's the worst offseason by a mile.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but it's also like you said, like they traded Pittman and Zaire Franklin. That's been their lead tackler the last like 2 or 3 years, and Pittman's
one of
been
their best defenders.
Pittman's been like their most consistent receiver the last 2 or 3 years. Like it's not even you're taking away just like a veteran presence of consistency, just showing up every day and doing your job. Like, and then you're just placing it with these expensive ass. Just mid replacement guys
I
that
would-
are already on the team. It doesn't make any sense.
I would rather the league, if I was an ownership group, I would rather the league call me and say, hey, we're opening up an NFL team in Oklahoma City. You want to take the team? Than being the ownership group of the Colts right now. I'd rather have nothing and start from bare bones.
Agreed.
I'd probably rather be the Browns
And people
owner.
have been hyping up. We talked about this years ago. People have been hyping up Chris Ballard that he's
He's
this
a bum.
mastermind
He's a
GM. Remember his signing a few years back? Matt Ryan. How'd that one turn out?
Big Phil.
Carson Wentz. We brought back Phillip Rivers. Now we're gonna just hitch our wagon to Daniel Jones. Chris Ballard, like if
He's
I'm
a
a Colts
bum.
fan, like fuck, I'm not. But if I was, I'd say fuck you. You need to get the hell out of Indy, and we got to tear this thing down from the studs. But you know, they say, oh, you know what? The dealer's showing an ace high, and we got a pair of twos. Let's just go all in. That's what they did, and it's a joke. And the fact that an NFL front office can actually legitimately in 2026 with AI and all the tools that they have run a football team like this is mind-blowing. This is just a joke.
It's malpractice.
What's the biggest benefit out of this? That Danny Dimes goes and gets you in the wild card round and you get slaughtered in the first round by the Buffalo Bills or Baltimore or someone? That's the best case. You sell some jerseys. Like, if you're going to do that, then go look at Jerry Jones. Look at Jerry Jones. If you really want to go that route, then go actually sign big names that people know and take that route. Don't take this route of signing Daniel Jones, who's not even a media guy or a big name that fans could actually get around and hug and fucking love on. Like this, it's an F. It's a dumpster fire. It's terrible. I would rather be in the spot of any other team in the league than Indianapolis right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
The Daniel Jones contract is just,
It's a joke.
it's mind.
And then they also let
like,
Braden.
who are you bidding against?
Oh yeah, and also because
Like,
of that they had to let Braden Smith walk for 2 years, $10 million a
And
year.
he
Like
went for nothing. Braden
to a
Smith
division,
for 2 years, $20 million.
to a division
is nothing.
rival that needed him badly. Yeah.
And like you said with the Pierce deal, you give Pierce.
I didn't even mention the Pierce deal.
You gave Pierce 4 years, $120 million. You
already had Pittman locked up.
You had Pittman locked up, and you traded him when you could have just let Pierce walk, not given him the contract, and gotten a comp pick.
you
It would have been the same thing.
You could have
just
got.
keep Pittman for like $15 million a year
Yeah,
less.
I was gonna say like
What are you doing?
you could have Pittman for like 18 a year. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
go let the Patriots, go let the Titans sign Alec Pierce to 4 years, $130 million, and then you can see the Bleacher Report articles for the next 3 years talking about how horrible the deal is for them.
yeah.
Like we all know the Pierce deal is going to be horrible. Like it's just it's
So
right on the
stupid.
wall. How can you not see that?
And the thing is too, like, because you drafted him and everything, you get a fucking comp pick next year. Like,
Exactly.
It's and it's not like your team is like all one age. Like you have this tiny window. Like you got decent talent here and there, but the age is all over the board. Like
and it's not like this team is even if they went out and traded for Lamar Jackson, it's not like this team's a quarterback away from winning it anymore.
No.
And guess what? You don't
Their
have
defense
Lamar.
sucks.
Yeah, you lost guys on the O
And
line.
you traded 2 first-round
Their-
picks for Sauce Gardner.
Your receiver room isn't that
Two
good at this
first
point. I
round,
mean,
yeah.
I don't know if we've ever seen talk about a span of
That's what Micah went for.
a span of 6-7 months from after week 8, or not even 6, probably maybe 4 months, 5 months of after they were 8-2 from where they are now, just like falling off a cliff. Your stock in your team.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been this big of a collapse this quickly in the modern NFL era. Honestly,
Yeah.
The Chris
It's
Ballard
ridiculous.
saga just annoys me so much because, like we were, he's been like the golden boy for 10 years. Everyone's always been
forever.
he's so smart. He's so smart. He never spends money. He uses these little margin deals just to make the team better. And he goes and gets these quarterbacks that just can get him to the playoffs. They can get 10 wins. And it happens every year. And they're horrible. Or they don't make the playoffs. Or it's the Matt Ryan experience. And they're horrible. And then finally, the one year he says, "Screw it, I'm going to go all in." This is what he does.
yeah.
It's horrific.
This is actually his first kind of balls on the table all in move, and it's this Danny Dimes that's your
Sauce Gardner,
Yeah.
for 2 firsts.
The Sauce deal I understood more in the moment, it was a bad trade, but in the moment they were 8-2.
They were hot.
The AFC was weak as shit. Sauce, I understood that one more. In the
He's
moment.
not the,
Dude, that's
he's not
gonna
the
be-
guy
that's
that
gonna
Put
be
your
the
nuts
Jamal
on the
Adams.
line and say because this Danny Dimes contract is going to be his career defining GM move. This is it. This is your biggest deal you've ever made. On paper, not drafting
One
wise.
GM
On
made
paper.
it through it already somehow.
Yeah, that guy.
That's
New
just
York's
Joe
guy
Shane,
should,
baby.
He should be out of there too. I mean, what's up with these teams fall in love with these GMs? I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at least they got Tyler Warren. That was a great draft pick, but we can move on to the next team. The Houston Texans.
I haven't got that mad about a team in a while.
I haven't either. As soon as we
Neither of y'all
started
have.
getting angry.
yeah.
When,
No,
as
y'all
soon
are-
as the Colts got brought up, I started
y'all-
fuming.
y'all
I was
were
like,
both
this
heated.
is ridiculous.
Okay, so the Texans, they have lost Juice Scruggs. They traded him for David Montgomery. They cut Joe Mixon. They also traded Titus Howard to the Browns. They got a late pick for that, but so what they've done, and it's funny. So I actually gave them a B at one point, and this was 2 weeks ago. Whenever I first started doing this research, and I wrote down want them to address the O-line more. So at this point now, I have them do a B plus, A minus. So what they've done, they got Reed Blankenship 3 years, $24.75 million, just over about.
Oh wow, the
80
Texans
years.
just signed Wyatt Teller.
They already did.
Okay.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That's what I told them to do last week.
Yeah,
Nice to
they
watch.
signed Braden Smith, the tackle from their division rival. The Colts, great offensive tackle, right tackle. He will lock that down. 2 years, $20 million. That is a freaking bargain for that guy. They got Wyatt Teller, 2 years, $16 million. That fills their guard spot left by, Kenyon Green, Juice Scruggs. Doesn't even matter. It was so bad. And then they also signed Evan Brown to be their center for 1 year, $3.5 million. Those three help solidify the O-line and clearly their biggest weakness. I mean, that's 3 new starters. I don't know how great Evan Brown is, but the other 2 guys are solid veterans that should contribute immediately. It, at the very least, brings some veteran presence to the O-line. And then they also got Foster Morrow for 2 years, $6.3 million. Just tight end depth. I love that signing. That guy's always been solid. Logan Hall, 2 years, almost $14 million. D end, D tackle. Dominique Robinson, 1 year, $4 million. And EJ Speed, 2 years, $13 million. I love all 3 of those moves. Just bolstering that D line, just making the rotation deeper. Give Christian, Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter more fresh legs. Get them more fresh on the early downs and third downs, everything. Re-signed Dalton Schultz, and then obviously added David Montgomery for Juice Scruggs and a pick. I really like what they've done. They were patient and they waited to get guys on good bargain deals like Wyatt Teller and Braden Smith address their needs. And I think they could still go offensive line in the first round, just really solidify that group. And then at that point, I think because their defense is already so set. And then, you got to bang on CJ. You can't go elsewhere at this point. Montgomery solidifies the running back room with Marks. The receiver and tight end rooms are great. You got Schultz, Moru now at tight end. Receiver, you got Nico Collins. You got the two guys from Iowa State you took last year. You still got Tank Dell. I feel like there's another guy I'm missing, but doesn't even matter. They're just really solid all around, and B+, A-. I think they're going to run away with this division this year.
I would go higher. I'd go in
even
B.
an A.
I would go A and potentially even A+. I mean, like when
it depends what they do in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. But like at this current point, like given the team they have, the defense they have, the holes they needed to fill, and you went out and got Braden Smith and Wyatt Teller to solidify the tackle spots. You got Reed Blankenship on a steal to fill out your one safety spot. You're going to have the best defense in the league again next year. You got another running back to pair with Woody. I like that running back room now. And like you said, Tank Dell's coming back. You've got 4 competent receivers and a clear-cut number 1. You've got 2 good tight ends. Like, this team's ready to go. And, like, this team was ready to go.
It's all about CJ.
This team was ready to go last year, and I think they would have been in the Super Bowl had C.J. Stroud not had the worst game of his career. As long as that doesn't happen, there is no reason why the Texans not only couldn't be the 1 seed in this conference, but represent the AFC in the Super Bowl next year. I think they got to be one of the clear favorites. Given the talent on this team going into next season, I think they've killed this offseason.
Yeah, I love what they've done. The O-line solidified it. Braden Smith, like you said, the defense had no really holes on it.
Yeah,
they addressed the biggest need. Now, I love the Monty trade too. And now you can go into the draft and you honestly can maybe just go BPA if you really want to. So
yeah,
100%.
And then like I said too, like they freaking bolstered the D line a lot more. They just got depth. Like that's only going to cause more havoc.
Right.
D'Amico likes those rotations. Luke, could you? Yeah. All right. Next up, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one should be pretty short. I don't know about how sweet it's going to be. I give them a D+. Let me start there. They've kept Dennis Gardeck, linebacker, Monteric Brown, which is a great keep. Chris Rodriguez Jr. was a new signing for them in the running back room. People are saying he might be leading that room, but there's no way Tootin' Booty is going to let that happen. He's too fast, too agile, too powerful. I think Tootin's going to be leading that running back room next year, but they lost Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, and Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome, who they gave up Tyson Campbell for last year, who's still on a rookie deal and was a top 5 pick in the second round a couple years back. They're losing a lot. And they just aren't adding anything, and it's because they don't have any draft picks and they don't have any cap space. And I mean, they have a solid team. I like what they're doing a little bit. They need to add. They definitely need to add a linebacker now. But there's just loss, and they're just not adding anything to it. And you can't win by doing that. I mean, you got to. I understand addition by subtraction, but that's not what they're doing here, and they're just losing valuable players.
Yeah, I don't love what they've done, especially when your quarterback has his career season. Vibes are high, you're flying good, and you don't do anything to add to that or even keep it the same group. You just lose a bunch of talent, and you let Devin Lloyd walk, who was arguably your best player on defense, for $15 million a year. And I know there's a reason he went for 15, but that guy was a monster for him last year. I don't know how I feel about Bashaw Toot and Chris Rodriguez as my backfield duo either. That's obviously cause for concerns. And this draft class doesn't have any running backs worth of shit.
So you don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's a bad grade for me as well.
Yeah, completely agreed. I mean, the running back room's going to be a problem. You don't have a first-round pick. You're not going to be able to solidify those spots that you lost. You're looking at a late second-round pick now as your earliest. I mean, there you're kind of shooting for, you're shooting blanks and you're trying to hit a guy. But I mean, you just lost too much. You didn't add a whole lot, and now you're just not as good of a team. And whereas in your same division, the Texans got a hell of a lot better, and for what it's worth, the Titans got a hell of a lot better. And I know we're about to talk about them, but I don't think the Titans are going to be, a 12-win team, but the Titans are going to be competitive next year. Now the Colts are the Colts, and we've gone through them, But, I mean, you're going to have to deal with the Texans twice, and the Texans are a clearly better team than you are now, and the Titans are coming. Like, so I just I feel like you kind of wasted a lot of momentum that you had.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I think the Titans are going to suck. I got them up next. They got to do the right things in the draft. Should I just go right into them? I think that's a fine transition. So, Titans, what they've done, they got Wan'Dale Robinson for $70 million, about 3 years, I think. John Franklin Myers, 3 years, 63. That's a D lineman. Cornerback Alontae Taylor, 3 years, $60 million. They traded Tavondre Sweat, a D tackle, nose tackle, for Jermaine Johnson. I think that was a great move for them. They signed Cordell Flott at cornerback as well as Joshua Williams. Got Trubisky as a backup. Got Daniel Bellinger and Kylan Granson at the tight end room. And then they also traded for Solomon Thomas. They got Tommy Townsend at the punter spot. And then they cut L'Jarius Sneed. They got rid of Lloyd Cushenberry, Xavier Woods. They were both released as well as Shai Tuttle. And then Calvin Ridley got restructured. I mean, I like what they've done a little bit. Like, they're going in the right direction. My thing with this team is, like, they tried to take a step. You know, when your team sucks and you got to start building from out of nowhere, you start building in the trenches first. And they tried to do that last offseason, and it didn't really work. And now they just have some money wasted on the offensive line. And so it's kind of like they don't want to double down on that. So they've been addressing different spots. I mean, I do like that, how they address the defense a ton. They got corners, they got D linemen. But that defense needs everything. They still need linebackers. But I really want to see a good O-line and weapons for Cam Ward. I don't honestly care about what the defense is doing. It's about the development of Cam Ward this year. And I just haven't seen the most to contribute to that. So I'm just going to give them a B. It's been solid, but it's unspectacular, not what I would do exactly. They still have cap space. Like, if I'm them, go still get Jawan Jennings or another offensive lineman if you can. But at the same time, their offensive line improved a lot last year. Still, it's just it's such a lackluster group. Like, it's just not good.
I wouldn't let the Dan Moore signing sour you too much on what they've done this free agency. And like you're saying, you don't really care about the defense. I mean, they obviously are. I mean, you don't bring in Bob Saleh and sign all these guys.
I'm just saying,
defense.
I would rather them invest in the offense than defense. Like, I do like the Jermaine Johnson, and now that they've done that, I think they should go all in the draft. Like, if they can get David Bailey or Arvell Reese or even Bain, like, take a D lineman at 3, so you have a really good front of the D line. Because that's what I'm saying. Building the trenches, get one unit. You know, that's head and shoulders above the rest.
Their defensive line is looking pretty good right now with JFM, Jeffrey Simmons, Jermaine Johnson, and like that's the thing. Like, you don't bring in Bob Saleh if you're not going to get him any guys on the defensive line. Like, that's how he's always had good defenses. They got to start somewhere, and they still went out and signed Wan'Dale Robinson to a huge contract. So, and who's to say they won't do anything else in free agency? I don't really like the Alontae Taylor signing, 23 for 60 for a guy that's been really inconsistent. I don't love that a whole lot. The Cordell Flott signing I like a little bit more. But I do like how this team, they're adding pieces. Cam Ward needs some guys around him, and they got to see what Cam Ward could do. I think this team's obviously still got a lot more to do with the rest of free agency and with the draft. But, I mean, I like how that they're establishing an identity, and that identity is Bob Saleh in a defensive line unit, which I do respect, and I do like that I do see a direction pointing for this defense at the very least, which they didn't have it all last year. And then obviously you would hope Cam Ward comes along and develops even more.
Yeah.
But I do. You bring in a Bob Saleh to add these defenders and help them out, and so that's going to be the first thing that's going to actually help Cam Ward win games, is to get the defense going. And so I don't love what they've done. They overpaid a couple guys, but they're at least they're trying, and I respect that.
I agree. Like, when you got a quarterback on a rookie deal like Cam Ward, that's exactly what you got to do. I mean, you're going to overpay for some people. That happens normally. I think the biggest move for them was Bob Saleh combined with Dable. Like, I think that's an awesome pairing. Like, I think to get Dable in as your offensive coordinator is a huge move for them. And to me, that's my biggest addition for them. Like, get a guy who's worked with quarterbacks before, done really well, and pair him with Cam Ward. Like, that's That's really the most important thing. That yes, Bob Sala is important. The defense is important. Cam Ward's development is the most important thing for this franchise. And you got an offensive coordinator who should at least be there for, I would think, 2 years. I mean, if he knocks it out of the park, maybe 1. But you've now got a guy to really mold Cam Ward and get him the coaching that he needs. So I actually really like their offseason. I'd give it into the B+ range just because you had the money to do it. You went out and got good players. You overpaid a little bit, but you made drastic changes on the coaching staff, all in the positive direction, and I think that's the most important thing a bad team can do that's coming off a bad year of coaching is not only get the right players in, more importantly, get the right coaches in, and I think it's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just defense helps Cam win games too, but I think
They better not go Jeremiah Love.
I really would like him to have a true
I would
number
not be
one.
mad about Jeremiah Love.
I could see that. I just
You know what it reminds me of? A few years ago when Atlanta took Bijan, like they had so many other needs, but they just said, fuck it. This is the best guy on the board. He's our number 1 player. We're just going to pick him. I mean, I view it the same thing as Jeremiah
But
Love.
that's not a good example. They still suck.
no, but they didn't.
Yeah, but Bijan Robinson is one of the best players in the NFL.
But
You think they're mad about that?
I
pick?
agree with Cole because it's also that gives you the dynamic of a good run game and also a guy that can just run little slot routes or dump offs for whenever Cam's in trouble. I think that adds a whole another dynamic, which would be great for Cam.
You're not mad about that pick, but
It's an A+ pick.
A minus.
But my point is, even if it's an A+ pick, like Bijan, for example, like using that one, like, yeah, that's a horrible commercial. Even if it's an A+ pick and you knock it out of the park, it's not like it's done anything for the Falcons. Like, they still stink.
Yeah, they would still stink no matter who they picked there.
Yeah, but they maybe could have gotten a tackle, like a
They would still
edge
suck.
They would
rusher.
still suck though.
You never
Bijan's
know.
still
like,
young.
But they got like a top 10 guy in the league damn near. Like, I know he's a running back, but like, so even when the Lions took Jahmyr Gibbs, they said, "Oh my God, you have so many. Why
Sometimes
you have David
you just
Montgomery?
gotta
Why are you
draft chalk,
taking
yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs?" Because they said he's the best guy on our board.
Well, the Lions
that pick turned out good, too.
I mean, we're actually at a really good team.
No, I know,
so it
but
made
I'm-
sense.
I'm just-
okay, but how is the Bijan thing much more different than Genty? I mean, do we not think Genty is going to be one of the best players in the league? I think he is, and we've all crushed that pick.
Yeah, but the
the
jury's
Raiders
still out
are-
on Genty. Like Bijan, we know is like the best running back in the NFL, one of the best weapons. Like Genty's, the jury's still out. If we get
Okay, well,
a
let's
couple,
say- okay,
if
all
we
right.
get 2 years from now and Genty's putting up Bijan numbers and it's
Like,
like the
let's
best
say-
back
let's
in the
say-
league, I think that's a good pick.
You think if so Bijan or not Bijan? If Genty has like 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns next year,
Yeah, that's a good pick.
okay.
Yeah, I think it is. Like I understand like the let's get the guard or the tackle or the edge rusher, but like I don't care if you draft a guy in the top. If you draft a running back in the top 10 and the running back is an All-Pro league leader, one of the best guys in the game, I don't care about the position. He's a stud.
Okay.
Like, and you can't miss on that, especially for Cam Ward. Like they still need so much juice on that offense. Their offense has no juice.
I would agree with you a lot more.
Yeah,
if it was
no
a-
juice.
if it wasn't a bad team.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Like,
Well-
I just think when you're a bad team, you're so much better off going to get a Tyler Algier or a Kenneth Gainwell and trying to go hit the edge rusher because the edge rusher market price for a good edge rusher now is $35 to $40 million. Like, the market price for the best running back in the league is $20 million. When you draft a running back at 5th, 4th, 6th, whatever, you're still paying him 10. You're not really getting the discount for those first 5 years as you are at the tackle, obviously the quarterback, the tackle, the edge, even the receiver, and I think receiver is a diluted position at this point, but still, like, the market value of those guys compared to where you get them when they're slotted in the top 10, like, it's such a drastic difference that for me, bad teams shouldn't ever draft running backs. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the counter to that too is good teams don't ever have the opportunity to get these running backs. So we actually
Lions did.
I mean, I think that was a traded pick.
They weren't
I'm just saying,
that
for the most
they weren't
part,
that
like,
good at that
your
time.
generational backs,
I mean, they
your
had a lot of
Jeremiah
talent.
Loves, your Ashton Genty's, your Ezekiel, like the
Bad Cowboys
teams.
with Zeke. We were a good team.
Yeah, and it was still a good pick.
But that's what I'm saying. For the Cowboys, it was a good pick because the team was ready to go. They needed a punch at the running back spot.
I'm just saying
the rest of the team was ready.
It's rare though that good teams are able to get those blue chip running backs because they're not there by then.
I just you Saquon with the Giants. I mean,
it was a good pick,
but it didn't do him anything.
But they weren't doing anything anyways. Saquon wasn't the reason that team was held back. It was the construction of the roster years leading up to it, then years after. Like
I'd have to go back in that draft.
Was a good pick.
I'd have to. Yes, in vacuum, it's a good pick, but I'd have to go back in that draft. Like if I could have gotten, I know Joe Alt wasn't in that class, or Rashawn Slater. Like I'm just saying, but like if you could have gotten that guy instead, I think the Giants would have done that in a heartbeat now because he would be on their team right now.
Maybe not. But I also, like with Tennessee as well too. Like I think you get to a certain point where this franchise has been poverty for a long time now, and the fans need something going for them. And Cam Ward needs some help, and you go get one of the best running back prospects in the last 10 years. They could also be a weapon in the receiving game. Could be a home run threat for you. I think that would help him out dramatically.
Okay, so
and help him win right now.
If you're the Titans, would you rather draft Jeremiah Love or Arvell Reese?
If Arvell Reese is there at 4, I would pick him, but I don't think he's going to be there.
David Bailey.
I'd probably go Bailey. My top 3, it's Mendoza, Bailey, Reese. If those are the 3, then I'm going Love. If Reese or Bailey's there, they'll go with one of them.
If you're going him over Styles,
yeah.
If you have
you're going him over Maganu, tackle.
If you have a blue chip or damn near blue chip player at tackle, receiver, quarterback, edge, one of like the 4 highest paid, most premier positions, you take him. But otherwise, take the guy that should be a top 5.
Because also too, like
what about Downs then? I mean, Downs is going to be probably like an all-pro safety.
But that's like the least premium position. But
it's on par with the back.
He's
also like you got to help your quarterback.
Yeah,
Jeremiah Love's going to help your quarterback more than Caleb.
And also my thing too is like you look back and like think of like a redraft and stuff. Like even Kyle Hamilton's amazing, but it's like if he was in the same draft class as Gibbs, like I'm taking Gibbs over him.
Also too, like with Tennessee and Love, like you draft Jeremiah Love at 4. You're not gonna miss on that pick. That guy's probably gonna be an all-pro for you.
Like if you're talking about like a job security from like a GM perspective,
if you draft Francis Maui Noah, there's a chance that he's a bust. Like there's a chance Arvell Reese is a bust. Like Jeremiah Love is probably the safest pick in the entire draft.
Yeah, agreed.
There's a 90% chance he's gonna be an all-pro. Like we're being real. So like, and when you're this bad too, there's also something that's like just don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
So. All right, next division.
AFC West time. Let's go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Their additions this offseason. The main staple, Kenneth Walker, 3 years, $43 million. They also got Alohi Gilman, safety, 3 years, $24 million. They re-signed Kelsey to essentially a 1 year, $12 million contract. It's a 3 year, like $54 million contract, but all that's non-guaranteed. They also got Karisis Tongan, 3 years, $21 million, defensive tackle. They had some serious losses, though. They lost Jalen Watson, Brian Cook. They traded Trent McDuffie. They did get a pretty good haul for him. They also lost Charles Omenihu.
Good haul.
They have $11 million in cap space. I went with a B- for them. I don't really think they added a whole lot outside of Kenneth Walker. You re-signed Kelsey. I think that's your second biggest move. You lost essentially your entire secondary. You did get a really good haul for Trent McDuffie. I think that's fine. You got the 29th pick. You can make some moves with that. But you lost probably the best position group of your defense. And you did remedy the worst offensive position group you had. But I just think it was a lot of lateral moves and moving from, all right, I'm going to get rid of all my best players on defense, and I'm going to get a really good player on offense, and I think it all net equals 0 for me. So I just went with a B-. I think Mahomes is going to be back, and I think this offense is going to be reinvigorated. So I think the offense will be better with Walker, but the defense is obviously going to be worse. So I just went with a B- for them.
I personally would have them in like the D's, honestly. I've not liked what they've done. I understand you needed Kenneth Walker, you needed a running back in there, but like people forget, like Kenneth Walker, I know he's been in a committee at times in Seattle. This guy got a monumental amount of carries at Michigan State. He's also had injury problems. You signed him to a 3-year big contract. And like you said, you lose maybe your biggest strength on your entire team, which was your secondary. You had an all-pro in Trent McDuffie. You had 2 borderline Pro Bowl type of players in Brian Cook and Jalen Watson, and you've done almost nothing to replace those guys. And the Chiefs at this point, I think the days of Mahomes throwing 5K, 50 touchdowns is over. This is a team in recent years when they've won a lot of times because of this defense and because of Steve Spagnuolo dialing it up. And now you take away his secondary that has absolutely nothing, and you put that money into a running back position where I think you could go get a Jadarian Price or a Mike Washington in the 3rd round that maybe have similar production as a Kenneth Walker. I get it, the Kenneth Walker thing. I don't really love it, though. And we've seen contracts like this when you sign these running backs going into their second deals on these big deals. They don't ever really pan out ever. And you can't undersell what this team lost in the secondary. And they were built on this. I know the Chris Jones, the days of him dominating and the D-line dominating, it was kind of over. It was the secondary that was holding this defense up, and that's washed now. Also, you lost Leo Chanel, maybe your best linebacker on defense.
And he went for cheap, too.
He went for cheap, yeah. This defense, which was been carrying them, honestly, the past couple of years, now is going to be, in my mind, a bottom-half defense in this league. And we've seen it even last year when Mahomes, the first few weeks, was trying to play hero ball. The team's not winning like that anymore. And so I don't like what they've done one bit at all, honestly.
Agreed.
All right, Denver. Denver did very little this offseason. I mean, you re-signed J.K. Dobbins, 2 years, $16 million. You also brought in Alex Singleton, 2 years, $15 million to help the linebacking core. And you had 2 sizable losses. You lost John Franklin Myers at your defensive line positions, and then you lost Dre Greenlaw at linebacker. I mean, those are really the only moves that they made. Now, they did trade for Jalen Waddle, which I know we've all been calling for the last month. I love that deal for them. You're giving up, the 30th pick in the draft? And
a 3rd and a 4th.
Yeah. And, I mean, Waddle...
Yeah. Sorry, you're going.
Waddle, he's on a great contract. He fits perfectly with the timeline. He fits perfectly in with the cap positions and their receivers that they have. And they still have $22 million in cap space. So I just went with a B- for them. I mean, the Dre Greenlaw move, I don't really love that.
I don't get that, yeah.
He
was hurt.
I know he was hurt. He's still a good player. He didn't go for much. John Franklin Myers, I mean, he was a little expensive. I mean, I'm not too worried about that. But I do really like the Waddle deal. I think it makes a lot of sense with Bo Nix. And, I mean, this team's going to be really good again next year. You've got a great defense, and you just solidified your receiving core, which is what you needed to do. So I went with B- for them.
Yeah, the Waddle trade absolutely saved any grade for him here. If they didn't make that move, I would have them in, the Ds. Because, I mean, they had the cap.
They didn't have anything to do.
Well, they had the thing is they were like Seattle. They had the cap to maybe make some moves too.
No, they didn't. They had $15 million.
They did. I thought they had good cap.
No. They had 20 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious the Waddle do highlights at all, but
yeah, I mean, other than that, they really haven't done much. They really need to add something at tight end. I guess they're hoping Sadiq falls to them, but I mean, now they might need help at linebacker. They don't even have a
first-round pick now.
Yeah, shoot.
Eli Stowers.
Never mind
Sean
what I'm
Payton
saying.
would love Eli Stowers.
Yeah,
he would. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Just B-. Yeah, nothing crazy.
I mean, they didn't really do anything, so it's kind of hard to grade. And they didn't have much to do in the first place.
Yeah.
All right, to the Chargers. They did a ton of stuff, and I really like most of it. They did a lot of margin moves, and they got better at a lot of positions all across their team, and they didn't have an issue with they were able to keep all their flexibility long term while keeping good players on this team to compete now and be able to make moves in the future. They added Tyler Biadasz, 3 years, $30 million, Charlie Kohler, 3 years, $24 million, Cole Strange, Trey Pinkins, Keaton Mitchell, Dulshawn Phillips, Dalvin Tomlinson, and they re-signed Khalil Mack to a 1 year, $20 million deal, which I love. You're not getting rid of any of your flexibility, or you're just getting him in for 1 year. They lost OA, which I'm perfectly fine with. I think he needed to go. I don't think it was smart for them to re-sign him. They lost Zion Johnson, who was an issue for them last year in the pass blocking game. And really their big loss is they lost Jesse Minter, which I think that's really the only thing that you can point at in their offseason and say that's going to be an issue because they lost a really good defensive coordinator. The other thing is they have $62 million still in cap space, so there's a lot more left to do. I would have liked them to go out and get a couple more guys to fill out this roster, especially with the cap that they have. But I really like the moves they made. This is a classic Harbaugh move to go fill in the margins around the team that's already good and position it going forward. So I went with a B for them. I would have liked to see them use their cap space more, but they avoided bad contracts and they filled in key positions with depth pieces and just decent players that can fill roles for them.
Yeah, this was the most Jim Harbaugh offseason I've ever seen in my life. Like, the team's biggest weakness last year, like the offensive line getting hurt, the running back room getting hurt. We obviously know that's what they want to do. He didn't even double down or triple down. This guy damn near quadrupled down. Tyler Biatch, Charlie Kohler, Cole Strange, Trey Pippins, Keaton Mitchell, all offensive line, all running backs. Like this team, they're not going to run into this problem again where if the offensive line gets hurt, we're going to have serious problems. They brought in the depth pieces. They brought in a Keaton Mitchell. Like, they showed their hand to a T, and they I think they did what they want to do. So I like what they did so far in this offseason. And that was really the detriment to the team last year, is the O-line and the running back room got absolutely banged up. So they're prepared for that now. They weren't last year. Now, if that were to happen, they're more than prepared with adding literally their top 5 guys are all O-line running backs. So, like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really have anything to add.
Last team, we got the Raiders. I went with a C- for the Raiders. I think they overpaid at basically every player that they got. I like the Quay Walker deal. I like the Nakobe Dean deal. I absolutely hate the Kwity Page deal. Tyler Linderbaum's an awesome player, but they drastically overpaid for him, $27 million a year for a center. I think it was like $7 or $8 million over the highest paid center already in the league. And then the Jalen Naylor contract, I think, is just horrible. I don't know why you go give Jalen Naylor 3 years, $35 million. And that they have a lot more holes than what they filled. And instead of doing kind of what the Chargers did and filling margin spots and just getting a decent player that can plug a hole for a year or two, I feel like they went out and made a lot of long-term contracts with just mid-tier players outside of Linderbaum. And then the big thing for their offseason is the Max Crosby deal falling through. I think if that deal had gone through, this grade would be up into the B+ range for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that was an awesome deal. You're trading a 29-year-old D tackle for 2 first-round picks coming off an injury. That's a home run. And you get also the 14th pick in this class. You're probably going to take a receiver there, which then you can fill out that receiver hole you have, which Jalen Naylor is certainly not going to fill. And you'd have been in a lot better spot. Now you spent a ton of money on just 5 players, whereas I'm only confident that one of them is going to be on the team in the end of the 3 years that all these contracts are up. And you have $20 million in cap space now. So you've kind of spent out, and you're going to be a little spent out for the next season coming up. And you've got Max now on 3 more years. So I went with a C-.
Yeah, I'd say I agree on I like the linebacker deals, and I dislike the Naylor deal, but I really like that Linderbaum deal for them because they've just been, that interior line has been so bad for them, and they need some. I mean, and that's the thing is, when you're that crappy of a team for that long, you have to pay the tax of being that crappy. When you want a premium free agent,
it's a big tax.
It's also, it's not very common that the best center in the league at 25 years old is a free agent.
True.
And so, I understand paying that because hopefully they're good enough they never have to pay that tax again. But I would have done that deal all day. And I also agree. I think the Max Crosby getting traded would have helped them so much because it's kind of almost what we said for like Cam. Like he has some star power on offense. He's got his blue chip guys and GT and Bowers that can be explosive, but they just why not have the draft capital to add more to it, more rookie deals because they really need a wide receiver, like add a wide receiver, add a offensive tackle, just something in the top 15 picks would have been incredible for them. So I agree. I mean, and then even then think like Ty Simpson could be falling, because I think he'll go top 15-ish. And then they could have traded that for even another haul. Just
Yeah.
missed opportunity there, unfortunately, because of what the Baltimore Ravens did. But I would give them like a B minus because they did get screwed on that trade. But I think their GM is going in the right direction. I think he's making good moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good. Am I up?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got? The East.
Yep. Last division here.
All right, the AFC East. First off, we got the Buffalo Bills. So they've lost Joey Bosa, Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White. I think that's really it for the most part. They added Bradley Chubb. They also traded away Terrion Johnson to the Raiders. Signed D. Alford. Signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Signed Geno Stone. Re-signed Connor McGovern for 4 years, $52 million, which was a great deal for him at center. He's still only like 27 years old. And then they have Joe Brady as a new head coach, and they traded a second-round pick for DJ Moore. I gave them a C. I mean, they're trying to improve their team. They're just almost filling the holes that they had with similar players, just not really anything too crazy. Nothing very exciting going on here. They're kind of stuck in a spot where they can't really spend a lot of money or draft too high because they have Josh Allen every year. So, I mean, they need to make some bold moves, and the boldest one they made was trading a second for DJ Moore, and I hated it. So I'm just giving them a C.
Yeah, I think it's been a bad offseason.
Yeah, it has not been
for
good.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
The DJ Moore trade was a dumpster fire. Yeah, they're like Baltimore and Cincy. What are you supposed to do? They've kind of botched the last couple years leading up to this. So
The DJ Moore deal was just a microcosm of the Buffalo Bills the last 5 years. A desperation move. You overpay and you get screwed.
Yeah.
And the other team that you're doing the deal with screws you. And I don't know. I think that deal's horrible. And you're eating all of that salary too, which is they're not a team that was lush with salary cap space. So this is just more of the Brandon Beane show, and it just keeps going downhill.
Yep, I agree with you boys. Obviously,
we need to do a GM tier list.
that would be a good one. All right, now we do the New England Patriots. They haven't lost a ton this year. They lost K'Lavon Chaisson, who was really big for them down the stretch last year. And then they also cut Stephon Diggs because I don't know if that was because of his off-field stuff, but it would make sense. To replace him, they signed Romeo Doubs, 4 years, $68 million. I mean, that's a pretty big price for a guy that's been kind of a career number 2, number 3 guy. But Doubs has his big games. I think he could be exciting with Drake May, especially the way he plays. He loves his possession receivers. And then they signed Elijah Vera Tucker to 3 years, $42 million. I like that signing a lot. This just seems like a guy that is going to leave the Jets and then just have a good career after that. Because that's just one of those things that happens to teams like the Jets or the Browns or Panthers, Falcons, just these crap franchises that never have any luck. Vera Tucker, they're paying him just over like $15 million a year, or just under actually $15 a year, about 13, 14. But I don't know. I just feel like that one's going to work out for them. They also got Draymond Jones from the Ravens. They got Kevin Byard, which is a signing that I absolutely love. And then they also signed Julian Hill, who's a tight end you've probably never heard of, to 3 years and $18 million. He was on the Dolphins last year. I just gave them a B+. I like the guys they added. They really aren't going two balls to the wall. I think they're just trying to stick with the guys they got, build the culture. But they really need to add something to their pass rush, in my opinion, either in the draft or trying to make a trade or something. I think this would be a great team to go after Max Crosby, but for now, they haven't really done anything wrong, but they've made some solid signings. So I just gave them a B+.
I think there's an A.J. Brown trade in the works here too.
That could be there too.
I think that's coming at some point. I mean, I don't know what other team is looking at him. I think it's kind of locked in on the Patriots at this point. I mean, you're going to have to give up a first-round pick, though, to get him. I do like it, though, moving forward, if you were to get him. I mean, you're tagging him with a quarterback on a rookie deal. You're losing Diggs. I love the Elijah Vera Tucker deal. I think that's an awesome deal for them. You needed to solidify that spot.
Also, they lost Chase on a 1-year deal. Like, they could have easily paid that for, especially how
they could have kept
for
him
them last year
easily.
Why would
it felt
he
like
want
a lot.
that?
It felt like a lot of lateral moves. Honestly, like
Yeah.
I didn't think they gained a whole lot. I don't think they got worse. I don't really think they got a whole lot better. So I'm fine.
I
with the
do.
B.
I think they'll miss Diggs next year.
Yeah, 100%. Now, the only reason they're cutting Diggs is because of the
Off the field, of
issues
course.
that
Yeah,
are
and you don't want
happening.
that in your locker room.
Well, I mean, he might not. I mean, he might be suspended for half the year next year. I mean, there's a reason. I mean, he's coming off a 1,000-yard season, and no one's interested in him at all. So,
Yeah. You got anything, C-Lock?
I'm good on that. I agree.
All right. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins. Okay. These. Keep going.
Power through.
All right. I'm ready to go to
staring
bed.
at this, your like eyes are water. We're all our
Yeah,
eyes are, like,
I was
watering.
sure we're gonna get 3 shorts after this, man. Okay, Miami, they cut Tua, they traded Waddle, they cut Tyreek, they're holding on to A-Chain. They cut
He's lost weight. Actually,
they cut Bradley Chubb, they traded Minka Fitzpatrick. They're looking to trade Jordan Brooks. They're just getting rid of everyone. They signed Malik Willis, 3 years, $67 million. They signed Tutu Atwell, another fast guy. They added 2 linebackers, Josh Uche, that is, David Ojabo. Both these guys were like second-round picks that just never really did anything. Willie Gay, added Jalen Tolbert. Greg Dulcich re-signed with them. They really haven't done a ton. They are very clearly in a rebuild right now, and they're just going to eat the dead cap this year. I do like what they've done a lot of just getting draft picks for their guys or trying to get what they can for their guys. And, you know, I think it's smart. Commit to 1 year to just eat dead cap. And, you know, you're just going to suck for that year or two. And at that time, you give Malik Willis a contract worth like $20 million. If he's not the guy, then whatever. He's not the guy. He sucks. You're going to be a top 5 pick, and you got extra draft picks as well. And then if he is the guy, then great. You got him on a bargain for the next 2 years after this year. And I gave them a C+ because it's really hard to. I mean, they're eating like $150 million in dead cap, and you just got to account for the moves that led up to this. I just C+. They're just building a fast team, and they're just trying to win with speed or just be competitive with speed. But I think them and us all know they're gonna suck.
Yeah, they at the very least they said, "All right, Browns, all right, Jets, we're gonna out tank you. And we're gonna do what the Pacers are doing in the NBA right now, and we are gonna get the 1 pick, and we're gonna get whichever quarterback we want." And I do show some respect for that. The fan base may not, but you know, at least they're folding the hand and say we're going to punt this thing, and then get the one of the best assets with being the 1 pick in next year's draft. So I can respect that. So
I agree. This team is solely focused on 2027. Then
Yeah.
now when they did that, I don't really understand why you go get Malik Willis. I mean, because you're not getting a good test run with him this next year because your team is horrific. So you're not going to really like be able to showcase any of his ability outside of his scrambling.
I think you
That's
get
all
to
he's going to
see-
be doing.
I think the one thing you do,
You're setting him up for
'cause
abject disaster.
I have
though.
thought that, but I think the one thing you do get to see is like how strong his adversity is, and how much he can carry a team. You know, like just how much of a franchise guy he is more than a game manager.
But that's
you know?
something you do when you've got like Josh Allen
which
or Mahomes.
I'm pretty
like,
sure-
once you know that they're really good, like all right, now
Yeah.
it's your time to carry.
Malik
like,
Willis is fuck. There's no other way.
Yeah,
to
no,
put
but
it.
that's the thing. Like, why
What-
sign him? What's
Well,
the
I think what
point?
happened was they said, all right, we'll keep Waddle, and then Denver came knocking with a too good of offer to pass up.
No, like,
And then they're like, okay, yeah,
if
the league's probably
I-
not going to work.
If I were them, what I would have done is been like, let's go give the Colts like a 4th-round pick for Anthony Richardson.
I would have just started Quinn.
And if he sucks, he sucks.
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
not start Quinn? That's
just started Quinn.
that's the
Well, it
recipe
seems like their
for
coach
tanking.
just wants their offense to be really fast.
Jeff Hafley is a defensive guy.
yeah, McDonald or McDaniel ain't
Well,
there no more.
maybe he's thinking, about how to defend the offense,
Yeah.
right? But whatever. Next thing we got is pretty as uninteresting as the Dolphins. Got the New York Jets. So they have acquired Geno Smith from the Raiders, acquired Minka Fitzpatrick from the Steelers, from the Dolphins, my bad. And then they signed Joseph Asai, defensive end, Demario Davis, David Onyemata. They got Nahshon Wright, which is a deal that I really like. I mean, just 1 year, $5 million. That's a steal for a guy that can get you 5-6 interceptions. They traded Tavondre Sweat for Jermaine Johnson. And then aside from that, that's really all they've done. Like, they're kind of just sitting stagnant, waiting for the QB class next year. I gave them a C+. I like how they have stacking draft picks, how they're just adding low contracts, like under $10 million a year for each guy that they're getting. They're probably, going to get a defensive edge in the draft. So I understand getting off of Jermaine Johnson and getting Tavondre Sweat to put right next to the guy. Same thing as Dolphins, C+, just waiting for next season to see what the hell they're going to do next offseason. Maybe they can be offseason champions next year.
Love it.
Love it.
All right, well, is that going to be it for episode 12, gentlemen?
I
believe
think
so.
that's it.
All right, boom, go buy the merch.